Hey Mogul fam, welcome back to Mogul Talk with Darcel Laurie, where success is just a byproduct of who we are. It's your girl Darcel, your host, where every week I'll be bringing you a Mogul Minute of inspiration, new topics, and surprise guests. Stay tuned. Peace. It's time for another Mogul Minute. Can I get a drum roll, please? And today's Mogul Minute is happily ever after doesn't simply happen, we make it happen. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Happily ever after doesn't simply happen, we make it happen. And the reason why I love that quote is because on today's episode, we're going to be talking about relationships. And when we talk about relationships, we think about the list, right? What's on our list? Who's the perfect person? How do you find the one? All those things. But I need us all to also know relationships take work, right? It isn't just, it's not this magical fairy tale. As a girl who loves fairy tales, relationships in reality doesn't just magically happen. You have to put in the sweat equity. You have to make it work. You have to be able to have those, tough conversations. You have to operate out of forgiveness, right? And forgive often. You have to love through the tough times, the easy times, the hard times, right? And you have to have accountability. And most importantly, you have to have God at the center. And so when you do that, you're actually putting in the sweat equity to make a relationship successful. So it doesn't just happen as we would love it to. And I know we have our list, and we'll get into that in the episode, but make sure that you know that relationships don't just happen. You have to make it happen. Make it what you want it to be. And that was your Mogul Minute of Inspiration. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Mogul Talk with Darcel Laurie. It's your girl Darcel, and we are back for another episode, and I have two of my dear friends in the studio with me, Larissa and Carrie Ann, and we're going to talk about relationships today, so get into it. Hey ladies.
Hey, I'm super excited to be here. It should be a great conversation.
Yes, I'm excited.
Cannot wait.
Oh, like in real life, like you guys, we're like friends.
We are.
So,
That's true.
like we have a lot of these relationship conversations.
Definitely.
And I'm excited to see, because we all have like very different personalities and different perspectives.
We do.
And we kiki over this subject all the time. So we're gonna the special thing about this episode that I love and having you ladies on is that we're gonna give 3 different perspectives. Mm-hmm. So I'll be giving like the single again. I've been married and now divorced and ready to be out here in these streets. And then Larissa is married.
Yes, 8 years happily married.
Yes. And then Carrie Ann is single and ready to mingle.
Yes, I am out here ready to find my Mr. Right.
Yes.
The person for me.
Yes, which is your Mr. Right. Yes. And so we're going to be able to give like perspectives on all types of dating. So I'm excited. So we're not just giving from one perspective. So I think that's what makes this episode special.
For sure.
So we're going to kick it off. So just so my Mogul fam knows, I did not prep these ladies at all. At their request, they wanted a raw conversation, raw reaction. So this is like stuff we talk about all the time. But now they're just going to be, be able to answer some of these questions during the episode.
Yeah.
Now, when we think about dating, okay. So one topic, so we'll just get right into it. One topic that has been like circulating social media like crazy lately is, and I want to hear y'all perspectives, does the man on the first date, just the first date, okay? Does the man pay or no? Do you do 50-50 split? Are you going Dutch? Like, if he does pay, is he getting a second date? If you do Dutch, is he not getting a second date? Does it make you think differently of him? So who pays on the first date, and what's your thoughts? Anybody can jump in.
Hit that off?
I'll hit it off. So I think the man should pay on the first date. It doesn't have to be an extravagant first date.
Yes.
But, you know, as a woman, as a lady, you want to be kind of taken care of a little bit. Not fully, but just to know that the man is intentional and really wants to go out with you. Now, if we went 50-50, it's not like I wouldn't go out with them again. That's not a deal breaker for me. But it would be like a check mark in my mind, like, check. Like, noted.
Check.
You know,
so
like,
what does the
noted.
check mean, though?
It means
so what does the noted mean?
Right?
Like, noted? So if he doesn't pay on the second date, is that like a
no, it's not even
check?
No,
or
it's
like,
not. It's not going to
strike in the negative color.
No, it's not that. Like, it's just like, you know, when you're getting to know someone, there's things in your mind like, okay, they did this, they did that, they did this, they did that.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just not gonna work, or maybe we're just not compatible.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those noteds towards like the number of noteds that they have. So
how many noteds do they have?
I don't know. It just depends on the person. I just gotta feel out the situation.
Okay.
You know. So.
Okay, cool. So you're okay with a 50-50 split, but you
prefer. Yeah, right. Exactly. But it is like a. You know what I mean? But it's not a deal breaker.
At least a little negative taste in your mouth.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit sour.
So I feel like we're on the same page with that, because I do think for the first date, we don't have to do anything extravagant because it's the first date. So I'm not expecting you to go out there and spend hundreds of dollars or whatever.
Facts.
Because we don't even know if we really
vibe
vibing in person or not. This is how we get to figure that out.
Right.
So, but I do expect you to pay because, you know, there's as females, we look for not a provider, like you were saying, because we can provide for ourselves, but we want somebody that's going to be able to compliment us. So I need to know what you're going to bring to the table. So I know what I bring to the table. I'm going to need you to show me what you're bringing to the table. And it's not saying that I need to know that if I don't got it, you're going to be able to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of my first inkling of saying, like, okay, because I think the first date should be planned by the man.
Yes.
From the beginning.
Y'all hear
and
this?
you know, so I think that he should be able to do it from beginning to end. If we have to go Dutch 50-50.
Is he getting a second date?
If we have to go
If you
Dutch
end up going
50-50.
Dutch.
That's a strong if, she said.
Is he getting a second date?
If we have to, I'm going to need to know why.
Okay.
She's gonna need a dissertation on why.
Yes, we're gonna have a conversation about that.
A dissertation.
We will have a conversation. Maybe not.
What if you just said I wanted to just see how you was?
Well, later when we gonna have a conversation. But no, he'll probably get a second date, depending on how the date goes, though, too. Like, if it was the vibe and the connection was there, I'm not going to throw it out the window just because I paid, because then it's going to make it seem like I'm being real materialistic.
What do you mean you paid? What do you mean? You just went from 50-50
I mean,
to you
50,
paid.
50,
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Oh, wait. No,
now, if you do pay, that's a good question,
that's
though.
a whole different story.
That
wasn't the question.
I've had a guy stick me with the bill before.
I'm not paying for the first date. No way.
So what? Have you ever been stuck with the bill before? Like the guy was like, "Oh, I left my wallet at home."
No, that's unacceptable.
I've never. No, I probably would I'll sit here and wait for you to go get it.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Go all the way back home.
Right.
And
go get that thing. Leave your phone, because you need to come back and get your phone. Leave your phone, go home and go get the wallet and come back.
Yes.
No, I've not had that happen.
Okay,
Thank God.
good. Thank God. Please don't ever have that happen. I'm with you ladies partially on
Do it.
I definitely believe that the man should plan the first date. I agree. I believe that he should pay for the first date. Okay. I think my tolerance level is kind of like up here. So it's like, if we're going 50-50, no.
So you mean your tolerance level is low? It's down here.
Okay, yeah. So
okay.
No, is it high?
Yeah, because if it's high, you're tolerating more. If it's low, you have no tolerance.
So you have no
tolerance. I got no tolerance for the 50-50 on a first date. First of all, you asked me out.
Yo,
you planned.
Yeah, right? She's like, first. You asked me out. She's like, okay. This is a hypothetical.
But, also experience, too.
Right.
But you asked me out.
Hello? Why?
I got dressed up to meet you. And, when women go out, we don't just, throw something together. Like we plan to smell good, look good, you know, we put in effort, and then you're like, oh, you know, you want to go half? Nah, I'm sorry, you're not getting a second date. I've done that. But I don't think I'm doing that no more.
Okay. But why would just us looking good warrant
like I put a lot in? No, I'm saying it doesn't warrant me you paying.
Yeah.
I'm saying I go all out into what I'm doing to putting myself together. You asked me out, and I put myself together to be taken out. Okay. And you want me to go 50-50.
Okay, I guess the key there is you asked me out. Yes. That's the key. Picking up
so that's funny that you say that, because my rule is always whoever asks for the date should be the person that pays for the date. Like, so that's why I never ask for the first date.
I'm not asking for any dates.
Because I mean, like, I you know, I was talking to somebody in the past, and we were kicking it. We went out a couple times, and I was, like, bored. So I was like, hey, let's go out. So I was like, so I planned because I wanted to do stuff. I planned the night, picked the things and ideas of what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, he went ahead. It's not stuff that he's usually to do. Right. So I paid.
Is that beginning dating, or is it like some months in? Like you got some skin in the game with that person? Is that beginning stages? I mean, you asked them out?
Talking like 3 months maybe.
Okay, so there's some skin in the game. Yeah. Would you do that, like if it was a second date, first date, like in the beginning stages?
It depends. It really depends, because I know some of the things I like to do might be a little bit extravagant, and I'm not expecting you to come out the pockets with some things. Like, I mean, like, you know, I'm an adventurous person. Yeah. So some things those adventures cost.
Right.
And I'm not going to put that on them. If they want, I'll say I'm going to pay, but if he says, nah, I got this, that's even, better. But I'm not going to be like, okay, deal breaker, because you decided to not pay for my extravagant date night that I just planned.
Right. Okay. Now, are you planning an extravagant date night on second date? Third date?
I'm an adventurous person.
Okay, so you're kind of like,
say extravagant is different from everybody.
You're saying like it's spontaneous and you just may feel like, and you'll invite and you'll pay.
Right, but everybody's extravagance different. So extravagant might be like a 5-star restaurant. That's not my extravagant.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Facts.
My extravagant might be like, go skydiving.
Like skydiving. That's what I was thinking. When you think extravagant, I'm like, okay, skydiving experience. Yeah.
Like mine might be like, let's go skydiving, or let's do, something like that.
Right.
Rock climbing's not that expensive, but I might have a slew of different things that we're doing, and I can't, and not that I can't, but I wouldn't want to put that on somebody on the second date, being like, oh, now she's just gonna sit here and run up my credit card.
But also, can it be where? Can it be where, especially in the beginning, like where he's getting to know you, and through the conversations that you have, oh, she likes rock climbing, oh, she likes this, where he invests in the things that you like?
Yeah, he might want to do that when he's planning the next event or next dating. But if I'm just spontaneously hitting you up and being like, hey,
you want to go down? Okay.
Then
got you.
I'll, you know what I mean?
Plus, why have to put all that pressure on him?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the pressure should be on both in the beginning, or just on the man in the beginning?
I think I think on the first date,
I'm just thinking like beginning, like first couple dates.
Yeah, on the first couple dates, I think after the first date, I think it's fair
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fair game.
That's how you're establishing your entire relationship.
Right.
You're building, that's what you're doing from the first date and first, not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
First date and first couple months, I feel like you're feeling each other connection wise. After, if you're willing to give him a second date, you're willing to put effort into further more than that. So now let's just be 100 with how we're going to have this going forward.
Right.
Going forward, you're not planning on having him pay for everything. If that happens, that's fine. I have friends where their husbands literally, my girlfriend could not bring her wallet. She just brings her ID, and her husband.
And they probably on a joint account anyway, but.
Well, I don't know the finances. But he literally just pays for everything, and sometimes not even just for her. He pays for her friends. He'll be like, "I got it," and I'll be like, what? And I'll slide her a couple dollars, and she'll be like, "Girl, don't let him see you do that."
Right.
You know what I mean?
I've been out with guys who are like, "Don't you dare touch your wallet."
And then there's some
that's embarrassing.
that doesn't do that, but I'm not gonna look at them any less because that's not what they do. I feel like it should be it doesn't always have to be on the man.
I agree. over time. I think in the beginning, a man should court you. It doesn't mean you have to pay for 5-star restaurants, or, you know, whatever extravagant white tablecloth restaurants experiences all the time. I'm okay with the ice cream date. That doesn't cost nothing but $20 or maybe 15, right? I'm okay with a walk in the park. You know, we do a little picnic, you know. We maybe get some Wawa hoagies and sit down, or like a little fruit tray. I'm okay. I just need him to put in the effort to court me. Like, I don't want to court him. But I feel like once we're like solid, like, oh, he's shown this effort, then, I mean, I don't know if y'all know this, but I definitely have booked vacations and paid for them. Like, once we're in like relationship, you know, I have, you know, oh, I know this is his favorite like artist, so I'm gonna buy 2 tickets so we can go to the concert, you know, and surprise him. Or I'm at the mall. I mean, I'm really at the mall nowadays. Like, everything's online. I'm on Amazon, right? You know, and I see something like, you know what, this be something he'll wear. Let me grab that. Or like, oh, he's been talking about this. I'm very much intentional, but I want to see the guy's intentions in the beginning. Like, I want to see, and I want him to carry that, of course, throughout. But I want to see him put in that legwork first.
You can put in work without having, you can put in an intention without having to plan every date. That's not, intention to me is showing me that you care. That doesn't necessarily have to come through a date every time.
True.
That's listening to me when I speak. Mm-hmm. That's remembering conversations that we had. That's treating me with respect. That's, you know, introducing me to your family. So those things to me are more intentional. And I'm not saying that, oh, I'm going to plan every date. Like, even with my husband, I think the first 3 dates he may have planned, but I think the second one we did go like half. So, but it was still like a plan.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, it's hard to remember now, but
so long ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And can I also say there's also difference in dating when you are in high school and college and an adult.
I would agree.
So when
100%.
you know, dating now is, I mean, I think I went a lot of Dutch when I was early 20s because we ain't got it like that, you know? But I think, but then I've also had, I did have one boyfriend. I was 19, he was 20. And we would always stop at his sister's house, his older sister's house, before we would go on this date. He would pick me up and we were like, oh, I gotta stop at my sister's house before I go. And I'm like, all right, cool. I don't think anything of it. Right. And so a couple days he does this, right? And I just think, okay, cool. And I just wave to his sister, you know, and we drive off and we go wherever.
You didn't go in?
I didn't go in. Oh, he just ran in and came back out. And so I didn't think nothing of it. Kind of scrolled down. We were together. He proposed. We were like, that was like my first, you know, fiance or whatever. But I found out through his sister, every time he came in, I was giving him money for the date. He didn't want you to pay. He wanted to like court you. Like and then he was like 20.
Yeah.
Like that meant so much to me. Like, I mean, kudos to the sister who was, she knows who she is, for funding our dates. But I think like, I just think there's something to be said when a man does it. It doesn't mean you're materialistic. It doesn't mean you're a gold digger or anything like that. I think there's just something to be said when a man just really wants to like impress you and like take you out and like pay for like, I got it. But again, when you get older, I would hope you would be able to afford the dates, you know?
I get what you're saying and I understand that, but not everybody likes to be courted the same exact way. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like that whole like extravagant, dinner all the time, going out to eat type thing. I am more of like, let's just hang out and have fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be a whole entire I don't want to say production because that sounds really bad, but a whole thing. And I also feel like I understand we're supposed to be courted as the female, but we also got to do something to attract them into the situation too. We can't just be sitting back waiting for them to do everything while we just look pretty and being like,
no, I give you good conversation. I give you my company. You know,
seriously, stop.
I'm sorry.
I give you a good.
That should naturally be coming, but you need to do a little
just a part of.
If you want him,
that's just a part of being a cool human being. That's a part of being a cool human being. But no,
not all human beings know how to communicate.
I get that, but but just because you
dates.
bring your company, I mean, he's bringing his company as well. So what's the difference? You guys are both bringing your company.
I think I'm just more traditional in that sense of I want to be courted.
Yeah, well, I get the whole being courted, but I'm not saying that you shouldn't be.
And it doesn't have to be dinner every time. Like, I want experiences. I love experiences. I love creativity. Like, I just want the first couple of dates to be planned by him. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. Period.
You're saying you are okay with it going back and forth in the beginning, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah. I don't have a problem with planning a date. You know, it's not going to be an every date thing. If I feel like I'm planning every single date, there will be no more dates. Yeah. But I feel like it's okay for me to plan every so often. But I still do need you to show me your intentions. Like, you're calling me more than I'm calling you, or you're reaching out or whatever. Not, you know what I mean? Like, I need to show your intentions still.
And that's what I'm saying.
But
I need to
pursue to me, that's part of courting. And the whole meeting your family, your friends. I need to be like, it need to be an integration. Like, I need your friends, your family, everything. To me, that's all part of the courting situation. Yeah. Because we can go on dates all day long, and you never introduce me to your family, or you never introduce me to your friends. Mm-hmm. And then you are like, you know, this guy that ends up treating me like crap because but in the beginning, you planned 25 dates and paid for 25 dates, but you weren't putting all the other efforts in. Yeah. So it's like it has to be
I think I come from a perspective of just my own experience of when I, you know, planned a lot of the dates in the beginning. I saw that through our relationship. Like, I saw the way that I started was exactly how the relationship carried. Like, and the way it ended was I planned a lot. I was very like, oh, let's do this. And because I was just like excited and just, you know, all those types of things. And then I didn't see the effort continue. Like, I was doing all the heavy lifting, and I was like, oh, I need to start this off the way that I want my future husband or forever husband to lead. Like, I want him to lead, you know, and of course I'm going to give input. Of course I'm going to plan some dates and all those types of things, but I want to see that in the beginning and throughout, but definitely in the beginning. But, you know, we could agree to disagree. You know,
I mean, we've done that.
That's like, let me tell you, that's what our friendship is. Like, we all have like different perspectives, and that's what I love. And we can all like literally go ham on our own perspectives and still be like, all right, guys, love you. You know, so get you some friends that you can agree to disagree and love each other and be like support each other no matter what. So one of the things that was like swirling on social media, talking about dates and extravagant dates versus non-extravagant dates. So 2 things have been floating through social media, and by the time you see this, Mogul fam, it'll be something that you'll remember, so you could definitely chime in. There's one story, and I want to compare these 2 stories. One story, this guy took this woman out, was planning to take this woman out to this extravagant restaurant, and he, you know, they were late for the reservation because she took a little long getting ready, and he was patient, so they missed the reservation. He ended up taking her to Cheesecake Factory, and she was like appalled. Like, how dare you take me to Cheesecake Factory on a first date? What are y'all thoughts on that? Like, is there a place that if a guy took you on a first date, would you be appalled and be like, how dare you take me here? Is Cheesecake Factory like too low? Like, is the bar too low for that, or does it have to be like a white tablecloth experience?
So for me, I don't know about being appalled. Cheesecake Factory. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with the Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory, by the way. That's one of my favorite places.
However, there's just some restaurants I just don't eat at just because of my diet. Right. And if he brought me to one of those places, one, that shows you should not listen to the conversations we've had, because I told you what I eat and now you're bringing me somewhere that I can't eat anything. 2, we're not going to have another date. I'm not going to be appalled where I'm just going to be like angry or mad or whatever. That whole, like Larissa previous said, the check, no, that's an X. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're not showing the effort to actually care about what I want or what I am able to eat or whatever, you know what I mean? So we've had conversations so you can get an idea of where I would like to eat versus just bringing me somewhere, Like, that's just my thought.
That's not your preference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
I mean, I don't think there's a problem with the Cheesecake Factory.
Me
for the
neither.
first date.
Yeah,
I didn't see like the uproar that she was having. Now, to your point, there are places that I would not want to go on a first date. I eat certain type of foods. I like a certain type of quality. So, so if you're gonna pick a certain place for the first date, that's not my. I don't want to say up to my standard, but Cheesecake Factory is totally fine. So obviously my standard, it can't be that,
right.
outrageous.
Yeah.
Then maybe we're just not compatible because
what about Applebee's?
Yeah, I don't eat Applebee's, so please don't ever take me there. I don't
eat
that,
Doug?
I mean, honestly, I went there because somebody in my family had something there. But I don't want the person that I'm dating to think that they could take me there. Yeah. Because then I don't know we just aren't the same.
So if Doug took you on a first date to Applebee's, it would be a no?
So when I met
But
Doug,
you were also early 20s,
for the
right?
first time. Well, it was like 25. Okay. So when I met Doug at that time, I probably would have just been like, okay, sure,
right. Right.
Now, no.
If it's a last resort, something happened and we had to go there.
Yes, if we missed the reservation.
If you planning this, like you put
planned this.
You put effort and thought and Applebee's is what you came up with. This is a problem.
Yes.
We definitely need the same.
Like we ain't on the same level.
At the level that I'm at, and then this is gonna come off really bad, and I'm sorry, y'all.
Sorry,
think
internet.
Whatever, but I'm not sorry at the same time. If that's the thought level that you come with, then we can't vibe any further because I have a certain level that I've not. This is gonna sound really bad. I have standards. I have set a standard. I have put myself and worked my way through Applebee's and above.
2 for $20.
There. So I want whoever I'm dating to be able to meet me on my level. I'm not at the point where I'm going to date down. I know my worth. I'm not going to date down.
You starting
something. Like that is dating down. If I'm going to go to a place and just suck it up and eat somewhere that I don't eat at. Like she said, she don't eat at Applebee's. I agree. I'm not going to
I think it comes down to, like, I think one of you mentioned it earlier. I think you said it, Kirian. Listen to the woman.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have conversations, right? You're on the phone, talking, getting to know each other. What do you like? What kind of food do you like? Do you like Italian? Are you plant-based? What are you? Like, when you listen, you'll say, oh, she's plant-based. Maybe I should take her to this nice, this night. Let me Google. We are in the age of Google. Now, back in the day, when we didn't have access to cell phones like that, when we still had dial-up internet, then not every house, like, I am dating myself. Like, then that's a little bit different, But we can Google real quick and look up reviews and say, oh, this will be a nice spot to take her.
Yeah.
Now, if she is an Applebee's chick, like, Applebee's my favorite, then take her there.
Right.
But I'm with you. Like, don't take me somewhere that I feel like is for a first date. I feel like that's the best you can come up with.
No date. Unless it was a second resort. You know, or like there's nothing else around. Like when we went to that place in New York, there wasn't really that many.
You had
to like figure it. When we went hiking, remember? There wasn't really that many great restaurants. So where did we go?
That was we went to
Chili's.
Yeah,
Chili's was the only restaurant down the street.
Yeah.
So I mean, like.
Facts. When we first got there, because I was like, hold up, we went to the winery that overlooked the lakes. I was
like,
that was beautiful.
That was beautiful. No, we're talking about the first night we got.
Okay, yeah, Chili's was down. But the only thing down the street.
When you have an array of choices.
And we live in a metropolitan city.
Yeah, and you're taking me out. Why would you choose Applebee's? Because it's not just about Applebee's. That's like saying something about who you are. Like,
you want the 2 for $20.
What do you mean?
He wants the 2 for $20. Like, we both pick an entree. We pick
it's just so much more than just. It's just showing so much more of who you are as a person. Not saying that it's bad.
It's not bad.
It's just not
lack of
in
creativity.
With me.
I want creativity.
Like, I mean, somebody might like Applebee's. Yeah. So I'm not gonna sit here and keep knocking Applebee's.
Right. Yeah. It's just
like, somebody might like it. There's somebody out there that really loves everything that's on their menu. I don't even know what's on their menu. So
I definitely think they elevated it a little bit.
The last time I had Applebee's was when I went to Atlantic City with my friends a few years ago, and no.
Okay,
we got there at we got to the Atlantic City at like 11 o'clock, or
Right.
like 10 o'clock, and everything closed, and that was the only thing that was open, so we went there.
Right.
I literally couldn't eat anything on the menu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
And
going
then
back to
I literally
listening.
couldn't eat anything.
I
Then
can't.
the fries,
I just
can't.
can't.
so like the fries and Applebee's.
And you
I'm
can't
sorry,
mess up fries. How
The
do you mess up
fries
fries?
was like,
How you?
I was sitting
That's
there
the
like,
that's basic.
yo.
If you
That
miss
is
a
basic.
I
fry.
was like, I'm not going back to Applebee's. Like that was it for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you gotta pay attention to what somebody's telling you. Like you said, like
Yeah.
Applebee's does not have a plant-based menu.
Right.
Like they got probably one thing on there, fries.
Right.
It's plant-based. Everything else on
And then
there.
some people who are plant-based, or I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because y'all are more the experts on this. But some people, like my boss, I think she's like healthy eater, plant-based, but she doesn't even do fried foods either.
Yeah, there's some people.
So
yeah.
there's some people who don't take dairy out. There's some people who take fried foods out. So you have to really know your person and
Yeah.
be creative.
Yes,
You know.
Yeah.
Now I have another thing that's circulated social media, which is the 48 Oysters girl. She's one of my favorites to talk about. So basically she went on, for those who don't know about the 48 Oysters girl, she went on a first date. So talking about first dates, y'all, keeping with the theme. Basically she ordered 48 oysters. That was her appetizer. She then ordered, I think, a steak. No. Then she went on to order. Then she's still having drinks. And then she ordered a steak and some potatoes. Like, the 48 oysters was just her appetizer.
I did not know that.
And the guy just left.
Wow.
Left her, like, he just left.
Because he knew he was paying. It was his intention.
He was
to
like,
pay.
this girl's just trying, like, he knew he was going to pay for the first date.
Yeah.
Going back
Right,
to
right.
the man, we think the man should pay for the
Yeah.
first date.
Right.
He was like, no, and just left and just literally said he was going to the bathroom and never came back. Would you have done the same thing? Or have you guys ever
You
done
mean
this?
would I
Would I
have
have
left?
Yeah,
or
would
would
you
I
have
have
left?
kept ordering so much food?
Or we could talk about both sides. Do you blame the guy for leaving, and do you think the girl was right or wrong?
Well, the girl was definitely wrong. Clearly, like why? Like clearly, you didn't want to get to know the person. You're just going there for
A free meal?
a free meal. Which why would you do that? I mean, it was a great meal, I'm sure, but like that's just not the right thing to do. And like from a guy standpoint, I think maybe. I guess it would have been best to have a conversation, but I guess if you're meeting somebody off jump and they're about to do that to you off jump, then do I
Right.
really want to have a conversation with you?
Yeah,
do I
no,
really
not
care
sure.
what you have to say?
Right,
Because you're clearly
right.
trying to take advantage of me. So
Yeah.
I mean, he did what
So
he had to do.
So question, is there a limit to how much you order on a first date as a woman? Because if we're, okay, to be fair, we're expecting the guys to pay on the first date.
Right.
So are we saying that
Don't you-
then we limit what we order?
Well, aren't you supposed to follow the lead of the person who's like technically paying for the meal? Like,
Okay.
kind of you see what they're ordering, and then I don't want to say you limit yourself, but you kind of just base it off of like what they're
If
ordering.
he's ordering 48 oysters, then you order 48 oysters.
If
kinda
that's what you
thing.
want. If he's
Right.
ordering 48 oysters, obviously he chose his restaurant.
Right.
And if he's ordering 48 oysters, I mean, yeah. If he's
Okay.
ordering that, then
But I'm
yeah.
saying, like, so basically you're just following the guy's lead
you're
on how much
following
you're
the lead
ordering.
on how much you're ordering.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you. How about you, Carrie?
So the question was,
So
how much? What's the
if
limit?
so like if we're going,
So
we're
no,
expecting
I
the guy
don't
to
think
pay.
you should downgrade what you order. Because I mean, you could went there to eat. Like you're not just
Right,
gonna
right.
order bread and then just be like, I don't want him to pay too much. But I think there should be. I think I agree with Larissa. You followed their lead a little bit. And I feel like you still also gotta be a little bit authentic.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying like if you usually go out and have 3 meals.
Some
at
people
one
eat.
time. And yeah, some people eat a lot, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you took yourself out and you usually sit there and eat 3 meals in one sitting,
Right.
I think
That's what it was. 48 oysters,
yeah,
steak,
I
and
feel
potatoes.
I
You
feel
gotta tone it
like you
down.
got to tone it down in that sense when
Yeah.
you're having somebody else that you just met
Right, to pay for the meal.
pay for that meal. Or have that conversation with them
Like,
beforehand.
hey, I got it.
'Cause
I know I
feel
eat a lot.
communication is key
Right.
with
Right.
everything. So if
That's
I'm
true.
a person that eats a whole lot and I'm talking to somebody, I'm going to say to them, hey, I eat. Let me just tell you, I
I
throw
can eat.
down.
Yeah.
I can eat and give examples. Like, and it comes up in conversation. This is what you do before you actually go on a date.
Right.
Like, you actually still have some kind of conversation to
Right.
be able to understand what you're getting into. He probably did not know what he was getting into.
And he was like, deuces.
Right. Like, he
Yeah.
was like sitting there probably looking at her
Is
like,
he wrong for leaving?
That's hard. part of me says no, because I feel like she was disrespecting him.
Okay.
By ordering all that and not having a conversation or even being like, hey, is this okay? And then I feel like it was a tit for tat type thing. Like, he was like, oh, you want to disrespect me? Then I'm going to disrespect you and leave you here with the bill.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like, you going to be on this date by yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there could have been a conversation, but at the same time, like, there could have been a conversation on both sides.
It didn't even seem like they were, and that's another thing too. If anybody's ever watched the video, I definitely highly suggest you go back and watch the video.
Real, though? Or was it just done for?
She didn't like really talk to him. It didn't seem like there was like a conversation even happening. She was just slurping through these oysters, taking, Instagram reels or whatever of her food. It didn't seem like she was engaging also. Yeah, so maybe he would have stayed if there was if the conversation was really good. Mm-hmm. And like, you know what? Okay, she's ordering a lot, but this is like an actual good date. So let me stick around for it. It didn't even seem like a good date all around. So
right. It did look like from the video.
And
we
weren't there,
the video
but
is legit or not. But from the video, it did look like she was just there for a free meal. Yeah. And I have had some friends where guys ask me, there's no attraction to them, and my friend would be like, girl, just go for a free meal. And I'm like, I'm not that, I don't need, I can pay for my own meal.
Right. Or I'll call my girls and be like, yo, let's go out. Like, I'd rather hang out with y'all than go out with somebody that I'm not really feeling.
Some women
because they want male company, and that's a little, the desperation kind of kicks in.
Or they just don't want to pay for themselves, and they know
that's true too.
Beautiful enough that some guy would do
pretty privileged. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the guy goes out there, thinks he's gonna, and because he got a baddie,
I'm gonna be happy to be seen with her, yeah.
But I don't think I would have. I don't know how I would have dealt with that if some dude just sat there. If I planned a date and the dude just over ordered.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, when I'm saying over order, I'm not just talking about like, a couple drinks here or there or whatever. If, like, went extravagant like that, I don't know what I would have done.
Oysters are expensive. So.
I know I would have had some choice words, though. Yes. Yeah, there would have been some choice words exchanged.
Now, I have another question for you ladies. Do you think, we have some skin in the game when it comes to dating, do you think, did you have a list? So I know, Larissa, you're married. Did you have a list before you got married on the type of man that you wanted? And then for us single individuals, do we have a list? And should we have a list, or should we rip up the list and just see what comes?
All right. So yeah, I wouldn't say I had a list, but really all I wanted was a man that my son could look up to, a husband that my son could look up to. It wasn't really a specific like, oh, he needs to be this, that, and the third. That was really it, because I didn't grow up with my father like being actively in my life as a child. Mm-hmm. As an adult, the relationship changed, and I'm thankful for his presence and what he's instilled in my life after I went on to college and have been in my adult years. But, those formative years are important. So that's kind of really all that I wanted. And I think a lot of times that it is great to you need to know what you're looking for in a guy, of course.
Yeah.
And, sometimes knowing what that is does come out in a list. However, I think a lot of times people get so caught up in the list that they may miss what is truly in front of them and meant for them. And I think also, too, when you have a list, like, are you what that person would be looking for on that list?
Are you the list?
Are you the list?
Speak on it.
Right? So I think a lot of times people aren't the list. Like, they want all these things, but they won't even want you.
Girl.
I know what helped me a lot was I knew that, like I said, I knew that I wanted a great example for my son. And then what I did was I just went on focusing on myself, praying for it and working and focusing in on myself. And that's, then it worked.
And
so,
maybe.
Yeah. So that's my take.
For me, I'm going to be 100. When I was younger, I had a list. and this list was ridiculous.
So it was long. When you say ridiculous, or was it?
It was specific.
Okay.
Like you couldn't have. You had to be between 6 foot and 6'4".
Okay.
Couldn't be shorter than that. And not saying that I didn't date.
Right.
It was like I dated you, but I knew you weren't going to be my person because you weren't within. This
within this list.
Right. Which I have to say, that was the thought, but then there was the ones that slip through. You fall in love with them, and they know they're nothing on the list.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, there's that happens. The slip throughs. Yeah, that you'd be like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that from you." Okay,
we're going to ignore it.
Yeah, we gonna ignore it.
We're gonna keep going.
right. And you fall in love, and then you in there, and you 2 years later, you still in there like, whatever. And then, of course, I'm single now, so it didn't work out. Which is okay.
It will.
I learned some things from it.
Yes,
and,
it's all about learning.
We're still good friends. But anyway, back. So my list was literally like specific. I mean, real specific. I'm not going to go down the list now because I can't even remember half of it anyway. I do remember that because I had this conversation with somebody previously, and they were like, oh, you just wiped out like 80% of the guys.
So do you believe in having a list then?
No, I don't. Not anymore.
So no anymore. So now it's
I just go for
individual
and energy
person.
And connection. Because I've learned from my experience that list don't mean nothing. Because I had everything on the list and had the worst relationship possible. I shouldn't say that possible. For me, it was the worst relationship possible for me. I mean, other people I know have been through other things. But for me, it wasn't something that was healthy. And I looked at that list like, okay, that's when I ripped it up.
You ripped up the list.
You checked off a good majority of everything on my list.
Yeah.
But you treated me like crap. So then why do I need the list? The list ain't nothing.
Or you needed to add to the list.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because I was gonna say because in the beginning, so in my early 20s. It was like my list looked more like you said, like 6 foot abs. Like it was just very superficial. I think over time I had to learn, like you said, from those experiences. Okay, I could have got the 6 foot abs, whatever, but then you treated me like crap. So it's like I learned that, okay, I want someone who has integrity. I want someone who makes me feel safe. I want someone who believes in God. I want someone who I love what you mentioned, that if I had kids with you, if they turned out just like you, then that would be an honor, right? So I think maybe adding to the list, I had to learn to add to the list, So I think a list is good if the right things are on it. But I do agree with you, Carrie Ann. And Larissa, you mentioned this. If you're so strict with the list, then I don't even know if really physical features like now are on my list anymore. I think like height's not on there. It used to be like, I wanted a certain, type of look. Like now I'm like, all right, are you a good person? Like, because, being on the side of being both married and now divorced, like, you really need to make sure what the quality of that person, that's what really, because when you get married, that's what you stuck with. So I think the list.
Don't say stuck with. That just sounded so bad.
Not in a. Well, I was stuck. Like, I was stuck, and then got out. But I'm saying, like, you have to be very certain on what you're gonna get and what you're gonna live. If you're saying till death do us part, you really better like that person. And you really, because you can love that person. But there's going to be some times when you argue and you're like, I don't really like you right now, but I love you. But I think you also have to be best friends. I wasn't best friends. Like, that wasn't my best friend. And I think now that's been added to my list. Oh, I need to be best friends with the person that I choose to, like, give vows to, right? Like, I think that I feel safe and all those other things. Like, I just think I've added to my list because I realized there were some, like, gaps that I didn't, like, fill, So I believe in the list. I just think it just needs to be in depth on what
all encompassing.
Yes. Where do we want to go now? So I'll put this. Oh, okay. what are your thoughts? So this is like a trigger word, and for some
You wanna say
women,
submission. Are you gonna say something about
yes.
submissive? Okay.
You know.
So we talked about dating.
Yeah.
We talked about if the man pays. We talked about, how we should conduct ourselves on a date, right? All those things. We talked about having a list when meeting a guy. All right. Well, eventually it's going to come to Larissa's lane, being married and submitting. How does that word make you feel when you hear the word submission? And it can be both for single or married.
Are we gonna start with me?
Okay. Either one.
So I think everybody put a negative connotation on submitting, because everybody thinks like submitting means I have to obey and become that barefoot and pregnant housewife at home, right. And that's not what submitting means. I mean, is for me in that context of marriage and relationship. To me, submitting means like I am coming to you as a partner within our relationship with anything that I have going on, I should be able to bring to you, or you should be able to bring to me.
Right.
Yes, there's times that I'm going to, we all have our roles in life. Like for a wife, as a wife, I have a role. As a husband, you have a role.
So you believe in gender roles? That's a whole nother conversation.
No, it doesn't have to be a gender role. Because just because you're a husband doesn't mean that
you're just saying we have roles in general.
Yeah, we have roles, and that's determined by our conversation and what we want in our relationship. Okay, you know what I mean? Because just because I'm the wife and I have a baby doesn't mean I need to be I am the mother, but I don't have to be the child, the person that takes care of the child.
Sole responsible.
I was trying to get those words out.
Right.
The sole person that's taking care and raising the child. No, we're going to do that together.
Yes.
We're a partner in that.
Yeah.
So going back to the whole submitting thing, though, I feel like it goes both ways. But we have society has put such a negative connotation on the word that it looks really bad. So for me, I've never been married, so I can say what I would like to do and hope I can do it.
Yeah.
And I pray to be able to do it. And I try to walk in the life, right now I try to be in my mind and try to build myself to the type of wife I want to be when I get married.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I, submit to the males in my life right now, like my brother, my dad, and like close male friends that I have. When I go to them for their guidance in certain things.
Okay.
And I feel like that's something I want to do when I get married too.
Okay. Larissa? Okay. Submission.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you first thought when you first got married about submitting, and then now, like, has it changed, or if it hasn't changed, is it the same? Because I think when
I first got married, I never thought about submitting.
Okay.
I feel like it's like a big. I mean, it's always been a topic because biblically it's in the Bible, but it's never been as big as a topic as it is right now. I feel like in like 2020, like everything just became. I don't know. Like the manosphere came, and then it was just like all this stuff happened. So I never really thought about like, oh, I gotta submit to my husband.
I think our older generation just naturally submitted. Like the wives just were like, okay, boom.
Kind of did it. But so I never really like thought about it, but I do. Even though I didn't think of the word, I do know that for the first years of our marriage, I do have siblings, but I grew up as an only child and with my and a single mom. So just watching my mom go through a lot of things and being the strong one, I felt like the strong one, had to do everything for myself, had to make it happen. So coming into a marriage, you do have to release that, but I didn't really release that in the beginning. I felt like it was me and Doug. Of course, we were great relationship, but it was us living our singular lives, and we come together to, do whatever. Like, it wasn't like we had to.
You had to learn how to become one.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that submitting didn't really start to happen until we, for me anyway, until we started doing business together. Yeah. And I had to really, really let go of the independent Larissa.
Yeah,
I was so afraid of losing Larissa. I was so afraid of losing my identity and becoming Doug's wife and no longer Larissa. And so I had to have a lot of conversations with myself and just remind myself that, you know what, this isn't Larissa, this isn't you by yourself. Like, you don't have to do it by yourself. You're safe here. It's okay here. It's okay to let go. It's okay to release. You are Doug's wife. That's okay. And that's
an honor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, and then to your point of submitting, yeah, it does go both ways, and submitting isn't just.
It's in the Bible,
yeah,
just so you know.
And I mean, I want my husband to be the leader. You know, honestly, like of course, I have a say in all things. We come together and discuss all things, but it's nice to know that you can take a breath. Somebody has your back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you know, like, they're going to be able to, like, come
Have your
through.
back.
Right, exactly. So, and then submitting also comes to, again, not being that one singular. It means we're coming together. I need to submit. I need to release who I was. And, and just kind of, you know, grow together in each other. So, for me, that's more submitting, opposed to just, oh, I'm going to do everything you say. Because it's not, like you said, it's nothing like that at all.
It is not that.
It's just honoring the leader in your home, knowing that you also have a very strong say. It's not like you're going to be bulldozed over, you know?
Right.
Your opinion is taken into consideration, and they do what you say as well. Like, women don't
You're co-leaders.
Yeah, you are co-leaders. And women have a very powerful influence over their husbands.
Period.
And you don't even have to say what you need them to do all the time. It's just...
If you're with the right husband.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yes.
And I don't necessarily mean say what they have to do as far as, you know, you need to take out the trash, you need to clean up your socks. You might have to tell them that.
Right.
But that little stuff.
I'm gonna need you to pick
but
that
as
up.
far as, like, how they, you know, deal with their family, or how they might deal with a business, or how they might deal with work, or just how they might deal with moving about and just leading your family. You don't necessarily have to, like,
verbalize it.
Yeah, it's just the support you give, or the encouraging that you give, or oh, you know, this is what I was thinking. But you might say it, but it's not like this and that and that. It's just like, oh yeah, this is what I was thinking. What do you think about that? You know, like planting seeds. So
I agree. I think submission is a beautiful thing when it's with the right person. I think you rarely would have a hard time submitting to somebody you trust, to someone you respect, to someone you feel safe with, to someone you know has your best interest at heart. Because someone who you're submitting to, a lot of times they're taking you into account.
Right.
Is this good for my family? A good leader, and this can go for business, right, too.
Right.
A great leader, one goes last, right? They're first but goes last. So they're making sure that, oh, is this gonna be good for my wife? Is this gonna be good for my kids? You know, if I move us here, is this gonna be good for us? Or is this really gonna cause my wife to go into depression? Is this gonna, you know, make my kids, you know, hate me for the next 10 years?
Right.
If it's not gonna work for the family unit, yeah, that sounds like a really good business deal, but I probably shouldn't take it because it's not good for us. Right. I also think that, now this is coming from a biblical perspective, I don't think that a man should move on a yes without his woman's yes. Now, I think that there's going to be things that you're going to have to relinquish control. Like, man, I know this is his great idea. I may have to pray on it. I think men have to also give space for a woman to think about something, pray about something, fast on something. Don't just say, oh, I did it. I don't care if you like it. That's not good leadership. No. Like, you have to say, hey, I was thinking about this. Can you just pray on that? Can you just think about it? Right. And a man who has the right woman beside him, you want to listen to your wife.
Right.
Because your wife is also looking out for you too. She's going to say, babe, honey, whatever, I could tell you, I don't trust that person. I don't think we should go into business with that person. You will you will actually help advance the home. If a husband will be wise to listen to his wife, because that will actually help you advance the home. Because there's some type of discernment that we have that sometimes men don't have. Right. And so I think when you are with the right partnership, submission is a beautiful thing, and it goes both ways. As you mentioned, we're submitting one to another, as it says in the Bible, because y'all know me, don't get me started. But and so it's like, you know, it's not a slave owner slave relationship. Right. It is what is the best for the unit and for the family. Yeah. So I'm with you all. I believe that submission is a beautiful word when done right.
So can I add something? Because I just finished reading this book I was telling you guys about. It's about God's purpose. I don't know the exact title, but it's about what God's purpose for a woman, feminine energy for women was, like what he designed us for. So he designed us as incubators. He designed us to grow things.
Yes.
So I think TD Jakes, there's a clip on Instagram, somewhere on social media that I saw that he was saying, if you want something to grow, if you want your idea to grow, give it to a woman. She will grow it. You give a woman a seed, she'll bring you back a plant. You give a woman a house, she'll bring you a home. So we were created to grow things.
Yeah.
And they were created to lead.
Yeah.
You know, so it also in the book it was saying that like we're equally leaders, but we just lead differently.
We lead differently.
Men lead from position, women lead from influence. So going back to what you were saying with influencing your husband, we have a natural ability to influence, not just our husbands, but just influence, period.
Yeah.
Across everything.
Culture,
that's
everything.
what God designed us to do, was to influence and also to grow. So when you're influencing, you're growing. You're growing something. You're growing, whatever it be, a business, the home, whatever it is, that's what we're designed to do. And a man leads from position. So he leads from position of being the head of the household. Yeah. But at the same time, he also has to communicate with the woman, just like the woman has to communicate with the man.
Facts.
For it to be a union, which is what marriage is.
Becoming one,
a union to be able to have the household move forward together.
Yeah.
So I know you were saying a great leader. I'll even go, for me, a great leader comes alongside the person. It doesn't have to always be from behind, because there's many different ways.
Not always at front and not always behind.
Come alongside. So even with my husband leading, he's coming alongside me as the wife in it. So we're walking together, leading forward of the entire family.
Yeah. And we're sitting, and I think you guys do this, you and your husband, Larissa, y'all do visions, right? Like y'all sit down, and I love that.
That's amazing.
I think more marriages need to sit down and have vision meetings. What's our visions for the next month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, whatever? Because I think then you'll submit to the vision, like, I know where we're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Women will submit when we know where we're going. Like, where are you taking me?
Women want certainty and safety. Yes. And when we can have that, it's easy to submit, because we know where we're going, we know what's going on, and it's like you said, we can trust. This also, the influence thing also reminds me of Elena Cardone. You guys know Grant Cardone? Ever heard of Grant Cardone? No. Okay. Anyway, they're a couple. And Grant is like this big, guy, and Elena was like a stay-at-home wife and mother for a long time.
And there's nothing wrong with stay-at-home moms.
Yeah, for real.
Too.
No, she's a powerful woman. And then she came to the forefront, kind of like doing her own thing with like the women's sector of what Grant Cardone does. But she talked about how, like, her husband's in front, but that doesn't mean she's any less powerful, because I'm the one influencing what he's got going on in front.
And I help him and guide him to what he got in front.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're the one influencing, if you know what's going on out there was planted from you, like, we're both equally, because she used to think, like, when they were out and about and Grant would talk about what he did, and she would be like, oh, well, I'm just, stay home mom. But then she was like, no, my kids are my products at home. Like, our family. I'm a part of building strong kids who can be a part of, exactly. So, I know.
That's facts. I love that. And, I think sometimes you'll be at the forefront at different times. Yeah. I think, when I think, y'all know, I love me some Jay and Beyonce. But, and sometimes they go on tour, and when they were both going on tour, Jay's kind of like doing his own thing, but more so helping Beyonce right now. Jay was on tour for a very long period of his life and performing. And then B will kind of be like still creating records, but then she'll go on tour right after his tour is done. I think, and it doesn't have to be a Jay and Beyonce relationship, but I think, hey, you may be working on this project right now, and then Doug is like, all right, cool, we focusing on that right now. And then Doug's working on a project. Okay, Larissa is like, all right, cool, I'm taking a step back and I'm going to support, influence, maybe do some research. Let me kind of take eyeballs on what's like the people that you're mixing with, just so I can give add some discernment to that, right? Like, I think, we're co-leaders, as all of us have agreed. And I think that a true leader creates another leader. Like, when I think about business, like a CEO, if you're not raising up the next generation or the next group of leaders to take your place, you're doing leading wrong.
Right.
Like, you should be raising up the next prodigy, right? So you should be pouring into your people. And as a marriage, you should be seeing what's in that woman as a man and be like, ooh, I noticed that in Carrie Ann. Let me encourage her on that. Maybe like I need to like that. I see something in her. Let me talk to her. Let me sit down with her about that, or with Larissa, like, or with myself. I think true leaders make other leaders,
Right.
you know? And I think, and you like, I think about Sarah Jakes Roberts, who's one of my favorite preachers. She didn't start preaching until her husband saw it in her. In her, she was the child of the infamous T.D. Jakes, right? But even under that leadership, it took her husband to see what was on the inside of her, and now she has this great platform. So I think true leaders actually create other leaders. So, but this was good, ladies. I feel we definitely need a part 2. Oh, sorry. I'm like so excited. I'm banging my mic. We need a part 2 because I feel like we didn't have enough time, but to get on everything that I wanted to talk about. But this was good.
Yeah,
and
sure.
any last thoughts? Okay. Last thought on, and you can answer this final question, and then of course we'll get into the social medias. But is there one lesson that you've learned from dating that we can give to our viewers through marriage, through dating, whatever, in relationships? One lesson that you've learned that our Mogul fam can say, ooh, okay, I can walk away with that.
One lesson we've learned in dating or
marriage, relationship, that you feel like someone can walk away like, oh, thank you for sharing that, you know?
Yeah, I guess about marriage. You know, I feel like when you have the foundation of your marriage tight and you guys are on solid ground, sometimes we can let the little things that occur within our partner that we don't like maybe tear us apart. And I kind of like to say, like, if you like in your marriage, some stuff that occurs is just a part of sharing your life with someone. So there are little things that may have used to annoy me, like I said, the socks situation, or like reminding him to take out the trash, or like just little stuff that doesn't really matter. But sometimes those little things do build up, because like after I've cleaned the kitchen and then you make it dirty, it's like you don't care that I just spent all this time cleaning the kitchen. You want to dirty it up again, But anyway, I know those are all little things, but like those stupid little things can add up. But
yeah,
what I've had to learn is like, you know what, his socks are on the floor. He's actually doing good with that. But his socks are on the floor.
Good job,
that means,
Doug.
that means he's coming home. Like, I'm thankful that he's coming home to me.
Come
You know what I mean? Okay, his dishes are here. However, would I not want to have him in my life? I can compromise something like that, because again, some of these things are just part of being together. Yeah, being together. So, I would just say that
give grace.
Yeah, give grace for sure.
All right, well, so I can only speak of this from a single perspective. Embrace where you are right now as being, if you're single, embrace it, because I know a lot of people look at singleness as being something like that we should be ashamed of, that we shouldn't even be, like we should be out here just searching for our significant other. But not saying that you shouldn't, and I'm going to say is learn who you are, because once you know who you are and knowing your worth and knowing everything about yourself, that's when you will be able to find or even receive who's out there for you. And that's something that I've learned and I've been working on myself, is knowing who I am. For a while I knew who I was, and then I kind of lost myself. And during that time I started accepting things from people, from guys, and that I know I shouldn't have been. So it takes away from the love and the life that you're supposed to have once you don't know yourself. So my biggest advice, even if you are married and you're already in your marriage, learn who you are, learn what you like. And then even those things, once you figure that out, bring that to your husband or your significant other, whatever phase you're in, whether it's marriage, engagement, singleness, embrace it, because that's where you are right now. And the only way to grow that, or grow that, or grow into anything else, is to accept where you are. So if you don't do that, it's going to be something and you're always like looking for the next thing. You're always going to be trying to reach forward where you're not embracing where you're at. So I've embraced my singleness. I absolutely love being single. For a while I didn't, but not saying I'm not looking for somebody or, I'm not ready for somebody. But at the same time, I am enjoying me and loving me for who I am.
Amen. And I will say, I'll give from the perspective of being on both sides, someone who has experienced marriage and divorce and singleness, right? I would say do not let your biological clock, ladies, I'm going to say this, speak to you, force you into a relationship, a marriage, a situationship, anything. I think sometimes we look at the societal pressures, the familiar pressures, right? We think about the holidays. Man, I don't want to be at the Thanksgiving dinner table again with no man or no, like, I need you, like, similar to what you said, Carrie Ann, is embrace where you are. Do not rush for nobody, okay? Don't let your mama rush you, your brothers rush you, your sisters, your aunt, your uncle, nobody, your grandma who's like, I'm waiting for you to have some babies, or I'm waiting for you to get married. Please take your time, because there's nothing like getting into a committed situation that is supposed to be forever and you're with the wrong person. You like, oh crap, I allowed myself to be rushed versus taking my time, allowing myself to see if this is really right for me. And I think, that's so important. Sometimes we're like, well, he's good enough. Do not settle. And that's to the men too, because I have all brothers. Do not settle. Get the person that is meant and designed, that God designed for you. There's the reason why certain marriages can last 30, 50 years is because, one, they're best friends. They didn't stop growing together. They didn't stop, like you said, evolving and bringing stuff to each other, communicating. So you want that best friend. You're not going to agree all the time. You're not going to, those are natural, as Larissa mentioned, but do not settle. Marry your best friend and wait. Do not try to make somebody for the square peg in a round hole. Don't make somebody into the one. The one will be there. Do not have a scarcity mindset where, all the good men are taken. Look, the right man, you think God can't move? The one who like parted the Red Sea can give you a man? Like, wait for the right one. And I'm going to end it on that. And thank you so much for this episode, for tuning in. I hope that you subscribe and that you check out all of our amazing episodes. And you can follow us on at Darcel World or at Mogul Talk with Darcel Laurie. And I'm also going to let my beautiful guests tell you where you can follow them.
Hey, it's Larissa. You can find me on Instagram at Larissa Lee. It's LORISALEIGH. See you there.
I am Carrie Ann, and you can follow me at Self Growth Coaching on Instagram.
And thank you guys for watching. Yes. Peace.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mogul Talk with Darcel Laurie, and a special thanks to our guests this episode, Larissa and Carrie Ann. Thank you so much for being a part of the episode, and to my Mogul fam, make sure that you subscribe and make sure you tune into the next episode. See ya.